Selamat sore semuanya dan selamat datang di program bulan Ramadan kedua Australia Jakarta, Ngabuburit bersama Chef Hoda Hannaway. Bulan suci Ramadan merupakan waktu yang sangat spesial. Kami sangat senang Anda menghabiskan sore ini bersama kami. Nama saya Emma dari kedua Australia di Jakarta dan saya akan menjadi MC hari ini. Hari ini kita akan menonton demo masak yang kedua oleh Chef Hoda Hannaway, chef asal Australia, pencipta berbagai resep dan pengusaha. Dia juga adalah finalis dari MasterChef Australia pada tahun 2018. Oke, hari ini Chef Hoda akan memasak sesuatu yang unik untuk kita, yaitu makanan fusion Australia Indonesia yang cocok dihidangkan ke keluarga Anda untuk berbuka puasa. Hidangannya terinspirasi dari rasa ikan bakar, fish and chips, dengan kentang bumbu sambal. Yang akan menemani Chef Hoda hari ini adalah Izzy Gunawan, seorang fotografer makanan dan blogger makanan gaya hidup dari Sydney, Australia. Dan nanti tamu spesial juga akan bergabung di acara ini, Chef Alban Maulana dari Masak TV. Oke, sebelum kita mulai, saya ingin mengundang Anda semua untuk bergabung di tatangan berikut setelah demo masak hari ini. Masak fish and chips dengan rasa ikan bakar dan kentang bumbu sambal versi kamu dan dapatkan kesempatan untuk memenangkan hadiah spesial celemek hasil karya seni penduduk asli Australia, artis Holly Sanders, dan hadiah lainnya. Untuk kalian yang sudah ikutan tatangan memasak atau ikut challenge program Australian Embassy Jakarta dan Masak TV demo masak yang lalu. Chef Alban dari Masak TV akan mengumumkan pemenangnya di akhir acara ini. Oke, jadi nonton terus ya sampai akhir. Yuk kita bertemu dengan Chef Hoda dan Izzy, dan jangan lupa tulis pertanyaan Anda untuk Chef Hoda di kolom komentar ya. Kalau pertanyaan Anda terpilih, Anda akan menerima hadiah menarik dari Kedutaan Besar Australia di Jakarta.
Halo semua.
Hello.
How's
Hi
it
Hoda,
going?
hi Izzy.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Apa kabar? How are you both?
Yeah, good.
Very good, very well. Very excited to be here, I tell you.
Yeah, sama-sama. Thank you for joining us. We're really looking forward to seeing what you're going to prepare for us today. What is it that you're going to be cooking again?
It's a dish, a traditional dish. Now, correct me here if I'm wrong. It's the ikan bakar, right? So,
ikan
sorry,
bakar.
I'm learning my bahasa a little bit. But ikan bakar inspired fish and chips. So when I was told about, doing a little bit of fusion, getting some fusion together with Indonesian cuisine and Australian cuisine, I looked and I said, what better way than to do this dish? Because ikan bakar is, I think it's an iconic dish, isn't it, in Indonesia? And the flavors are so beautiful. When I was reading up on recipes and trialing them, stunning.
Yeah,
so why not get the two together? Then, just because it's me and I love to add a little bit of, depth of flavor, the hot chips part is going to be flavored with a Sambal oleh seasoning that I've created. All of that to go with a beautiful pickled carrot. And the pickled carrot is to cut through the greasiness. Beautiful produce, beautiful spices. And I think we're going to end up with a fairly tasting dish.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Sangat enak. All right, well, I will let you guys take it away. Enjoy, everyone.
Thank you very much.
So what are we going to start off with, Hoda?
All right, let's start with our carrot pickle. Now, carrot pickle, super easy because I love simple recipes. Nothing worse than coming home and having to cook a big feast, especially in Ramadan, and you're so busy, you don't know what to do. All I've done here, I've got some grated carrot. So I'm going to push that. I'll move my bowl to the side there. Very simple preparation. So a bit of carrot goes in. Now, I did prepare one earlier just so it can sit, but I do want to show to everyone out there just how simple it is to make it. So what we're going to add to our carrot is just a little bit of, I've got caster sugar here. You can use normal sugar, you can use palm sugar, absolutely no problem.
So pertama kali sekarang kita bikin acar wortelnya. Kita ada wortel, terus kita tambahin gula dan garam.
Now, I've just added a little bit of salt. So these are salt flakes, but again, any salt will do. And we definitely need some vinegar for our pickle. So in that goes.
Terus pakai vinegar.
Okay. Now, to tie in a little bit with Indonesian flavors, I do like to add some lime to this as well. So I'm going to reach over, grab my lime. You can add as much or as little as you like.
Kita tambahin lemon.
Perfect. Best tools in the kitchen, would you agree, Izzy?
Yes, I do.
Hands, okay? Just give it a nice quick toss in there. And we want these to sit for about a good half an hour to 1 hour so that it pickles. I'll just leave this to the side and we can move on to our next component.
So what's our next component?
Next component is the chips, of course, you know. So what I've done is I've cut I've cut the brown potatoes, washed them, peeled them, cut them up into chips. And I have my fryer set at 160 degrees Celsius.
Kita udah potong kentangnya. Kita nanti gorengin kentangnya dengan 160 derajat.
Okay, so what I'm doing here is dropping my chips in, and I want to cook them for a few minutes just so that they're half cooked. And then we're going to take them out. So you won't get a big splash with this because it is at 160 degrees. We want to half cook them. We want to then take them out and drain them, dry them before they go in for the second cook at a higher temperature.
Terus kentangnya kita mau kentangnya setengah matang. Ya sekarang enggak splashing karena derajatnya masih it's still low.
Awesome. Now let me turn everyone's attention to the Sambal oleh seasoning. I'm very proud of this because when I know that Sambal oleh is sort of a iconic, what would you call it, like a condiment in Indonesian cuisine.
We have everything with sambal, but I can't.
Yum.
But
you can't?
Just tiny
just
bit.
Tiny
but
bit.
Yeah, all my friends would just
don't have an abundance of this. It's very spicy. But I wanted to replicate the sambal in a dry form so that I can season the chips when they're done with that. So what I put in my little mix here, and I'll hold that up so that the camera can see it basically, is ground chili, garlic, what else did I put? Ginger. So ground chili, ground garlic, ground ginger, a bit of salt, bit of sugar, and to sort of replace the vinegar, I've put a bit of citric acid in there. Now, if you have vinegar in powder form, by all means, you can actually use that instead. But I just put citric acid because I think citric acid is a lot more easily accessible out there. So we're going to use that later.
Terus kita nanti pakai sambal uleknya dibuat ikannya. Ini versi bumbu, bukan yang biasa. Sambal ulek ini ada bumbu bawang putih, jahe, garam, gula, dan asam citrik.
Okay, so our chips have been going for a few minutes now. I'm just going to let them drain just a little bit, and then we're going to tip them over onto that plate next to you, Izzy, with the lines with the paper towel, because we want to pat dry. Why we cook the chips like this is because you get a nice soft fluffy inside, and you should have a nice crispy outside, so that you just enjoy every chip, especially with that seasoning.
I love it when it's like soft and also crispy. I hate it when it's just only soft. Like,
that's right.
It's so gross.
So we're just gonna I'll grab that and we're gonna get that. Try not to get everything along the way, but that's that. And if you don't mind just sort of pat drying those for me, I've just increased my temperature for the fryer to 190 degrees Celsius, and that's going to give us the nice crispy outside. When we're ready.
Ini kentangnya, kentang gorengnya ditiriskan. Terus ini pakai tisu biar lebih, so it's more dry.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh.
Right. Oh, that's okay. We'll just get them, and what we'll do is we'll get them into one line. And you know these fingers, they're hot. Yeah, it is hot. But I call them asbestos fingers. So these are, when you're always working with them and with heat, you tend to, you still feel it, but you can work a little bit with it. So
supaya lebih kering, pakai tisu.
Okay, so while Izzy is doing that, pat drying my chips for me, let's look at the batter for this ikan bakar inspired fish and chips. And off air, Izzy was telling me something about another Indonesian dish that this reminded her of.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
What did I say? I forgot what I spoke about.
Ikan goreng.
Yeah, ikan goreng.
Which I was like, okay, cool. But I actually wanted the flavors of ikan bakar, here. Ikan goreng, which then translates to the fish and chips in Australia that we eat, because it's battered, it's delicious, and it's seasoned.
Do you eat a lot of fish and chips during Ramadan?
Chips is a big staple on the table in Ramadan. There's not a night that goes by that you wouldn't go into a Middle Eastern or like an Arab family home and there's no like a bowl of hot chips there. Just doesn't matter what they're eating, but there is.
Agree.
So,
like hot chips with like what's it called? Garlic?
Yeah, with the garlic tip.
So yum.
Yeah, it's delicious. So yes, we do in Ramadan, we always have chips on the table. And funnily enough, we do not every day, but fried fish, but we fry them. So we'll dip it in a bit of flour and then just fry them, and that's it. And then eat them pick at them and eat them whole.
Okay.
So,
is that a Lebanese dish? Or?
That's a Lebanese fish and chips for you. So what I've got here in my batter mixture, again, I try to keep all my recipes simple, okay? Because this and
it's very helpful for people who can't really cook that well.
Yeah, and this is things for people who, it's not only who can't cook, who don't have a lot of time, and who also like using ingredients that you will normally have in the pantry. So I'm adding just a little bit more. So I've got self-raising flour in there, which already has the baking powder, and I'm just going to add a little bit more baking powder in there to give me that sort of a little bit of airiness as well.
So kita ada tepung dan baking powder.
Yeah. Now, spices. With this one, I've got a few things here. We're going with some turmeric.
Kunyit.
Straight in. I love the color of turmeric, don't you?
It's so vibrant.
We've got some ground coriander, and I'm actually going to drop.
Ketumbar.
And we've got some garlic, ground garlic as well.
Bumbu bawang putih.
So they all go in. Don't forget, we want to season with a bit of salt, but always season as you go. So don't put too much.
Terus sedikit garamnya di dalam.
Okay, help me with the pronunciation because there's a lot of controversy in Australia with ketchup manners or kick-up manners.
No.
I want to get this straight.
Awesome.
Is it kick-up or ketchup?
Ketchup.
Ketchup.
Manis.
Thank you. Ketchup manners. We're going to add some of that to our batter. So that's going to flavor it. And I'm putting all of these flavors into the actual batter itself because you want to eat that fish. It's a very light batter. So you're not going to have a thick crust around. And you want to have the fish nicely flavored as well. And I think by putting it in there, it will just hang to the fish. Yeah. So I've got olive oil here, extra virgin olive oil, but vegetable oil, canola, any oil that you have is very fine because you only actually need a few tablespoons.
Terus kita tambahin oli.
What I'm going to ask you to do, if you don't mind, Izzy, is to just grab me a glass of cold water. So with my recipe, I'm using cold water, and you can use, try and make sure that it is like refrigerated, but also you can use soda water in it. So feel free in any case how you want.
Kita bakal tambahin air putih atau bisa pakai soda water.
Yep. So I'm adding the water a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Because I do want this batter to be kind of thick, but not like I want it to coat the fish. So that's obviously too thick, but I will get some lumps out there. Yeah. And this is where, you want to do some exercise. Use your elbow grease, as we call it in Australia. Awesome. I'm not sure how you're going to translate that in Bahasa.
I don't think.
Okay, so now because of the ketchup manners and the bit of oil, it does sort of like come together. It's almost like a glue,
Yeah.
So I am loosening it a little bit with water. More water, and I'm going, as I go, I'm adding a bit at a time.
Terus kita aduk sampai merata, ya kayak lem buat ikannya.
Okay, so we're nearly there. Now, how's our chips looking? They're dry? Because we're going to drop those chips back in as well. So let's, while we're getting...
Is this dry enough? Because I was patting it like 3 times, wasn't too sure.
Oh, you did a fine job, Izzy. Fine job at patting those. So chips, we've got, they're nice and pretty much dried, thanks to Izzy. And we're just going to drop them. And remember, I put my oil to 190 degrees Celsius.
Ya, terus kita bakal goreng kentangnya kedua kali. Sekarang kita gorengin minyaknya di 190 derajat.
Yeah, I'm just gonna grab those. Cool. I'll grab those bits off. You dried them too well. Dried them too well, Izzy. Nah, all good. Excellent. So chips going back in for the second fry, and we're going to drop that, let them do their thing until they're nicely golden, and then we're going to keep going. What I might ask you to do, if that's all right, Izzy,
yes, please.
If you could get me a bowl that's similar to this, because then we'll put the chips once they're done in there. So it's just in that cupboard.
Oh.
Just a bigger bowl, please. That's that. Okay, so this consistency.
Is that all right?
Yep, that's perfect. Thank you. So this consistency, we've got, I mean, I think that's fine, but I will, because I think it's going to absorb a little bit more. So I might just add a bit more water. And then that's then ready for the fish to be dipped in there and fried straight away. Now, with this, once the chips are done, and we'll give them a nice shape, you can see their colours starting already. Once the chips are done, what we're going to do is I'm going to reduce that temperature down to about 170, 180 between that. And then cook the fish, because the reason why I'm lowering that is because we don't want the outside to burn and the inside to be raw. We want it to all cook. So low and lower.
Sekarang ini minyaknya di 170 derajat. Ya, kita nggak mau terlalu panas supaya nanti nggak gosong.
Okay, so taste, right? It is a raw batter, but you got to taste as you go, right?
How is it? Yum.
Yep. Right, we're going with that. Not adding anything to it. I think it's great the way it is. The only thing I might add, just a slight bit, is a bit more salt. And the only reason, it actually does not need more salt, but I am going to add a bit because the fish is bland. So we're not going to salt the fish. We're going to just salt the batter. And that way, when you eat them together, they're going to be, hopefully, harmonious.
Awesome.
Delicious.
So I was just wondering, like, what are like some like multicultural, do you have any multicultural experiences of Ramadan in Australia?
You know, one thing about Australia is that we are such a diverse country and community, and we experience a lot just even by mistake, by walking. Like I've got a lot of Malaysian friends, also Indonesian. You then turn to like African culture and how they celebrate it and whatnot. So we are so lucky in the sense that we have a broad mix of cultures.
Yeah, we don't have to like travel to other countries to experience authentic food, like authentic food from different cultures.
Yeah, and I love that people have come to Australia and brought their culture and brought their food. And a lot of people actually have opened up like cafes or restaurants based around the traditional food, you know? So look at that.
Looking golden.
They're looking golden. You know, I'm just leaving them a bit extra, but we're going to get them to there. But now we're going to move on. Let's place a few pieces of fish in the batter. And then that way, once they're out, we lower it and we can keep frying. Awesome. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Excellent. So chips up. And we might do a bit of a, is it slightly crispy on the outside? Then I'd be embarrassed if it wasn't. I'll make Izzy just say, but actually, you know what? We can hear it. If we just stay silent for a second. Can everyone hear that?
That sounds very crispy.
I hope so. So chips are ready.
Yeah.
We're just draining those straight in here. You can use any bowl that you want. I'm going to turn down
that does look crispy.
My fryer.
Gosh.
Now, here's the fun part. I'm going to move this to there.
Yeah.
And we are going to add our seasoning, which actually gets me so excited. So excited about
kita
this.
tambahin bumbu oleh, sambal oleh ke kentang gorengnya. Wow. What a toss.
Yeah, so toss them because you want every piece coated with that and because it's me.
You're a true chef. You can
just add some more.
None of those chips went flying out.
No. All right. Taste test before we keep going.
Yes.
Right? You can taste this.
Right. Is it really hot?
I can handle heat. It's hot. Well, Izzy's recovering. Yum. Yep. Excellent. And you know what? Because I love flavor. Bit on
Yeah, I
top
think it
won't
needs a
hurt.
bit more.
Yep. Izzy won't be saying that in 30 seconds when she actually gets the heat. But we're going to put that to the side now and move on
So
with our
crispy.
food. Okay. Excellent. All right. Exciting times. Fish. A firm white fish, whatever you have access to, is absolutely fine. You don't have to get a particular type. You know, I'm using a perch fillets, but you can use snapper, you can use barramundi, anything that's nice and firm. And all we're going to do is coat that. Can you see that color? Beautiful.
So yellow from that turmeric.
Yeah. Now, straight over to the fryer. And, okay, we're going to get that going. Straight in. There we go. That's one
Kita
piece.
gorengin ikannya. Ya, tambahin adonan yang kita bikin.
Going in with our second.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to see how it's like.
I'm excited as well.
So have you tried any like Indonesian food? Do you cook Indonesian food at home, or do you like any of the ingredients?
You know, I have tried Indonesian cuisine, and you know, I actually have been to Indonesia.
Yeah.
Stayed in
Oh,
Bali.
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Love it. I love actually the satay sticks.
Yeah.
I must say, yum.
It's like ketchup manis.
Yeah. In there. So you know, I love the array of ingredients. I love the flavors, the spices, you know, the freshness that you get from some of the like the salad, the pickles and all that.
Yeah.
Just in general, it's just a dish like a cuisine that I do enjoy, and I am familiar with those flavors. Very similar, actually, to Middle Eastern in the sense that chili and garlic form the basis of a lot of the dishes. I'm just going to quickly wash my hands.
Yeah, go for it.
And then come in.
I mean, call me biased, but I think Indonesian food is like the best cuisine. Like, just eating Indonesian food in restaurants, because I grew up not really eating good food at home because my parents can't really cook very well, and then they're always like they're working as well, so we got catering food, and then but like we always had the same catering food every time. So growing up, I'm like, food is boring, I hate food. But you know, luckily growing up I could go to Indonesia and like try food there, and everything's so cheap, so our parents would let us like have anything we wanted, have any drink we wanted.
Nice.
So yum. But have you been to any Indonesian restaurants in Sydney?
Do you know, is it yes, I have, but to remember the name, now you put me on the spot.
Do you know what suburb it was in?
I think it was the one in like Darling. Is there one in Darling Harbour?
I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Have you been to the one at Kingsford?
What?
I am Goreng 99.
No, I've seen it, and I almost went in. I mean,
I bring all my like Muslim friends there.
Over there?
Yeah.
Nice. Yum. I do, you know, nasi goreng for me. I love nasi goreng.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's delicious.
I think our version's the best. I know there's like the Malaysian version, the Thai, not Indo.
Indo's the best. Perfect. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm just turning over the carrots, and I do want to do a bit of a taste test for these. Yeah. You want that tang? You want the tang? It's a slight sweetness from the sugar that we put in there. That's going to work perfect when we serve up.
Yeah.
We're just going to check on the fish now. And that's looking, look at that. That's so looking really good. So
you can already imagine the crunch.
Yeah. I'm just going to ask if you can pass me some paper towel, because what we like to do when we fry is drain them first on a paper towel so that it takes out the excess oil. And we can do that straight on the board before we actually plate up our dish.
I'm gonna give you more.
We're gonna, yeah, we might need slightly more. That's it. Cool. Excellent. And okay, I do have to say something about this batter. It is a very delicate batter because there is no like fussing about with it. It's literally flour and water as the basis. So please be gentle. That's all. Please be gentle. I have to take my own advice.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm bringing that fish up.
Wah,
And
garing banget ini.
All I'm
So
going to do
crispy, my goodness.
is grab that and put that onto my board.
I just love how golden it is.
Yeah, and you know that's when you add any spice to a batter, you do want to cook it on a lower temperature because if you don't, that batter will be sort of on the dark brown side to the burnt side.
Yeah,
we won't go there.
So, what's your inspiration behind like this dish and also the bubur sum that you made? It was so good.
When I create recipes, for me recipes are around the fusion. For me is around what's traditional, like what is something that's close and true to the culture. So if you noticed, I didn't go for a nasi goreng or a satay, and the reason being is because there's so many people, like it's one of those dishes that's really well known.
Yeah.
But if you walked around to the average person, even in Australia, and said, "Have you ever tried ikan bakar?"
Yeah.
They'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
No,
so for me, I love to celebrate what cultures have to offer, and I look for those recipes and those dishes that are not really heard of.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got fish done and chips done, and our pickles done.
Awesome.
Guess what? It's time to do right now. You can see how easy that was. Quick, easy, family fed in probably, I would say, look, realistically about 30 minutes by the time you feed everyone. But I'm just going to get our little platter here. And I'll put that on the board, I think. Sorry, I'm just going to be swapping things around. Right. Okay. So that fish I'm pretty happy with. And I'm going to move that to the side there. Get the little platter there. And what we may do is we can even keep them in this bowl. Hang on. Look at me. See, visually, food has to be appealing.
Yeah.
That's just with me. But what I will do is I'll pile these chips. Okay.
I totally agree. Like taking photos, taking photos of food, like it has to look really good and appealing, or else people won't really want to eat it. Like it's not inviting enough.
That's right. So what we want to do is just pile our fish there, and this is what I call chef snack. Chef snack, right?
Enjoy. Yum. I can hear the crunch.
Yeah.
My goodness.
I can hear the crunch.
Yeah.
So excellent. We know that that's there. Yeah. Now we'll grab our pickled carrot, and you want a very generous portion and serving there, because that is going to be what gets you through all of this fried stuff. There we go. And why not add the ones that we created a bit earlier too, because they're good. Gives you that pop of color as well. Bit of freshness.
It's very brown. You need something to pop.
Exactly. Now, it wouldn't be my style if I didn't finish this dish off with a bit of lime zest, just to carry through that zinginess. Yeah. So this is called a microplane. I don't know how Izzy's going to translate that, or anyone how you're going to translate that. But basically, it's a fine grater. Okay, and what it does is you just grate your lime over.
So you don't want the white part, is that correct?
Yeah, you just literally want the skin. So none of the pith there, and put that all over, because that you can automatically smell that perfume.
And you're adding more color to it as well.
Exactly. Excellent. So I'm happy with that.
Have you cooked this for your family or friends yet? Or?
They are going to taste it. And you know who's going to taste it first? My kids, because my kids, they do love chili and they do love to try
different. They love
different.
chili. Oh my gosh, they're more Indonesian than me.
I taught them how to have a wide palate, so they eat pretty
You're
much.
a good mom.
Thank you. So what we're going to do, sorry, if you can pass me one more paper towel,
sure.
Just one.
It's
all right, yeah, because this one we're going to use for cleaning, just quickly the sides of the plate, because that's what we do. Okay, excellent. And that's it, guys. We've got a beautiful ikan bakar inspired fish and chips. Whoa. And I'm going to put it here. Ikan bakar inspired fish and chips with Sambal, oleh seasoned chips and a beautiful carrot pickle.
Amazing.
Delicious. Smells so good. Excellent.
Wow.
Okay.
How early is that? So good.
Yeah,
it's so crispy.
The idea is as well not to play around too much with it, right? So.
Yeah. Wow, thanks so much, Hoda and Izzy. That was a really, really great cooking demonstration. And that ikan bakar looks enak sekali ya. Oke, nah kami telah menerima beberapa pertanyaan dari penonton kami. We have received a few questions from our audience. Are you ready to answer a couple of questions?
Absolutely.
Oke. Pertanyaan pertama dari Robbie Nyong. Apa beda ikan bakar Australia dan Indonesia? So what's the difference between Australian grilled fish and Indonesian grilled fish? And maybe you can tell us a little bit about the different ways that we prepare grilled fish in Australia.
So grilled fish in Australia, I have an internal battle with this sometimes, with answering this question, because we have a flat hot plate and we call that a grill, and we just put the fish on there and that's called grilled. But I do know in traditional cooking, I'm pretty sure in Indonesian and Middle Eastern, that when we talk about grilling, we talk about grilling over coals on the wire racks and
you need that
whatnot.
Not burnt flavor, but the charcoal.
The charcoal, that bit of smokiness. So the difference for us is in Australia, we cook majority of our grilled fish dishes over a gas top. So even if it's got grill marks, it's gas, not much with coals or wood fire, basically. That's the major difference.
Thanks. Dan pertanyaan kedua dari Elise Dwi, and that is, bagaimana Ramadan di keluarga Chef? Ada hidangan spesial selama Ramadan. So, how do you celebrate Ramadan in your family? And are there any special or favorite cuisines of yours that you like to cook up during Ramadan or Eid?
For me, during Ramadan, favorite. I mean, I'm going to say, look, about 80% of our meals in Ramadan are probably based around the Lebanese cuisine for us. But I love to incorporate different cuisines in there. So for me, whether it's Italian, Asian, whether it's, Malay, Indian, or like it incorporates. I love to add a bit of mixture sometimes, because sometimes you don't want to eat the same thing day in, day out.
So what would that look like? Like what
would
dishes?
What dishes? We always have a soup to start with. I'm just going to say exactly why we end up, and I'm pretty sure it's not just Lebanese, but everyone, why we end up with a feast. Because we always start with a soup, and that's to soften the esophagus to allow for the passageway of all the other delicious food that's going to enter the body after you've been fasting all day, you know. Then we normally then have a salad to go with that. And for us, it's normally in Ramadan, a lot of people will tend to do fattoush more than tabbouleh, for example.
What's the difference between a fattoush and tabbouleh?
Tabbouleh is based around parsley. The main ingredient is parsley, and fattoush is a mix of different vegetables.
I thought fattoush is with fried Lebanese bread.
That's it is fried Lebanese bread. So fattoush is garnished with that fried Lebanese bread, tangy pomegranate molasses. Yeah, my mouth is watering talking about it. But then we then tend to have. See, you asked me about chips. Well, bowl of chips mainly. They might have kibbeh, which is the raw meat dish, and another main meal, for example. And then once you're done with that and you can't fit anymore, all the desserts come out. So it's look, in Ramadan we try and keep it fairly mixed. We try and keep as well true to ourselves in the sense of why are we doing Ramadan? Partly is to feel what the poor or the less fortunate feel as well in terms of hunger. And it's sort of defeats the purpose if we go off and do a big feast and then there's a lot of food wastage. So we tend to stick to what we know we would eat or that we can carry on to the next day.
Nice.
Wonderful. Dan pertanyaan ketiga dari Faris, dan ini adalah, selain membuat sambal kering, apakah bisa menggunakan sambal yang sudah jadi? So instead of making a dry sambal, is it possible to use a more readily made or ready available sambal or side for the dish?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can even, if you don't want to season the chips with the dry spice sambal, I would get if you want to buy it already made or in a jar, and even mix it with some mayonnaise or something like that. So if you mix that and you have a beautiful sambal mayonnaise to dip the chip, or just dip it.
A lot of Indos, they eat chips with like sambal as well. Like, why not?
Just by itself. Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
How fun. Well, seperti saya katakan di awal, kita kedatangan tamu spesial di acara hari ini. Sekarang, saya akan memperkenalkan tamu spesial kita, Chef Alvin Maulana dari Masak TV.
Hai.
Hai, Chef
Selamat sore, Chef Alvin. Terima kasih sudah bergabung sore ini, Pak.
Iya, senang sekali udah bisa ada di sini.
Chef Alvin di sini hari ini untuk mengumumkan pemenang dari Recook Challenge. Tapi pertama-tama beliau memiliki beberapa pertanyaan dari Masak TV untuk Chef Hoda. Oke, silakan Chef Alvin.
Hai Chef Hoda and Easy. How are you doing, guys?
Hi, Chef Alvin.
I'm still thinking about the crunch from the chips and your fish and chips. That's really sounds really yums. Okay, everyone. Nama saya Alvin, saya dari Masak TV, dan hari ini rencananya saya akan mengumumkan pemenang yang sudah ngikutin Recook Challenge dari acara sebelumnya. Dan tentunya hari ini saya ada beberapa pertanyaan untuk Chef Hoda tentang bagaimana dia menjalankan Ramadan dan lain-lain, dan tentunya tentang resepnya hari ini. Okay, Chef Hoda, this is my first question. How does your family celebrate Eid in Australia?
Our family celebrate Eid by all coming together. I'm one of 4 children, and collectively we have 13 kids between us. So that's 13 grandchildren in our family. So what we tend to do is go carry everyone, take some sweets, go straight to our parents' house, and just all we might share breakfast together, for example, for Eid. And the kids, it's like their Christmas, basically. You know, they get gifted money. You see all the kids running with little purses, you know, trying to count up how much they've made from the extended family. But it's a day for us about we do the formalities of prayer first in the morning, so Eid prayer, but then we go back to our parents and we just spend the whole day together. And we have extended family, aunties, uncles, cousins, all coming and going. And yeah, it's just a family day.
Wow, that sounds really similar like in Indonesia. Jadi teman-teman, tadi Chef Hoda bilang kurang lebih sebenarnya hampir sama yang dilakukan di sana. Chef Hoda pergi ke rumah keluarganya bersama semua anak-anaknya dan semua keluarga besar, terus ada acara makan-makan dan lain-lain, dan juga ada bagi-bagi THR biasanya tuh kalau anak kecil suka minta, Om Tante THR-nya mana gitu kan. Jadi kurang lebih keseruannya hampir sama. And the second question is, how is fish and chip prepared and eaten in Australia?
Okay. So this is, at this point, it's my answer is going to be very controversial, and I'm going to say it's definitely not as flavoursome as prepared as this. It's a very simple batter, and the batter is pretty plain, I would say, and it's seasoned with salt. Even the chips are cooked. I mean, they're cooked the same way, but they're not. They're seasoned. You get either plain salt or you get chicken salt, basically, in Australia, which, you know, it is delicious, but I think I just created something. Sorry to my fellow Australians. Don't worry.
I agree too. No need to apologize.
So it's with Australian fish and chips, it's very simple. We serve it with a wedge of lemon normally, and some tartar sauce. And this tartar sauce is like a mayonnaise that has been flavored with diced cornichons, little pickles. You know, it's got a bit of a tangy, sweet flavor.
Wow, that sounds good. Actually, I love both. I love both. Your version today and the Australian version. I love fish and chips. Jadi teman-teman tadi kata Chef Hoda bilang katanya di Australia itu lebih simpel sebenarnya untuk prepare fish and chipnya. Biasanya cuman butternya juga lebih light, nggak terlalu banyak bumbu, pakai garam aja. Terus chipsnya juga dikasih garam dan lada dan lain-lain. Terus servingnya biasanya dikasih ada lemon sama ada tartar sauce. Tartar sauce kurang lebih kayak basicnya mayones, dikasih ada acar dicampur gitu kan. Tapi ya their acar lah, bukan acar kayak di kita nih, kayak acar nasi goreng. Tapi kurang lebih dua-duanya versinya sama enaknya. Oke, selanjutnya kayaknya ini saatnya untuk saya mengumumkan pemenangnya kali ya. Untuk pemenang dari Recook Challenge yang sebelumnya kita bikin bubur sumsum anzek ya. Ya kan, kalau nggak salah namanya itu ya. Pokoknya kurang lebih seperti itu. Aku akan mengumumkan pemenangnya, ada 5 orang pemenang di sini. Yang pertama aku sebutkan dari yang sudah ikut Recooknya dari Instagram. Yang pertama ada @ChelseaBoy15. ChelseaBoy15 ya. Ini terlihat sangat-sangat saya nih jam segini, jam-jam udah mau buka, ngeliatin kayak gini tuh jadi pengen makan gitu loh. Tapi harus sabar ya. Dan yang kedua ada Stephanie Denny, @StephanieDenny. Nah, ini juga cantik banget ya kan, dibuat kayak ada batik-batiknya gitu, lucu banget. Terus yang ketiga dari Instagram juga ada @ILoveToEatAndCookBlog. Nice. Kelihatan keren banget. Dan yang keempat ada dari Facebook, ada Kezia Laura Sinai, luar biasa. Wah, ini piringnya cantik banget, warnanya warna-warna hijau telur asin gini, saya suka nih. Dan yang kelima ada Lisa Windiarti. Simple tapi tetap masih terlihat sangat-sangat luar biasa. Oke, terima kasih untuk yang sudah ikut Recook Channel, Recook Cooking sebelumnya. Ini luar biasa banget dan selamat kepada seluruh pemenang. Oke, Mbak Emma, layar aku kembalikan kepada dirimu, silakan.
Terima kasih sekali, Pak. Selamat sekali lagi kepada para pemenang dan semua yang sudah mengambil bagian di Recook Challenge. Terima kasih sudah bergabung, ya, Chef Alvin. And thanks so much to Chef Hoda Hannaway and Izzy Gunawan. Thank you so much,
Thank
guys.
you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Oke, itu tadi adalah demo masak yang sangat bagus. Saya sendiri bahkan tidak sabar untuk mencoba resepnya sendiri. Juga selamat kepada Robin Yong, Elise Dwi Ratasari, dan Faris Taufal. Yang pertanyaan telah terpilih. Kami akan menghubungi Anda untuk mengirimkan hadiahnya. Dan jangan lupa untuk mengikuti Recook Challenge dengan cara upload foto atau video masakan fish and chips dengan rasa ikan bakar dan kentang bumbu sambal versi Anda di Facebook atau Instagram. Dan jangan lupa untuk tag Kedubes Australia. Anda bisa melihat detail mengenai cara partisipasinya di tisu. Oke semuanya, waktu berbuka puasa hampir tiba dan sayangnya saya harus undur diri. Terima kasih sudah bergabung bersama kami di program Ramadan hari ini. Kami ucapkan selamat menunaikan ibadah puasa dan selamat Idul Fitri yang penuh kebahagiaan. Selamat berbuka puasa semuanya.